Quibián ruled the rivers, forests, and mountains of what is now western Panama long before Europeans ever imagined crossing his domain. He was a powerful cacique of the Ngäbe people, a leader whose authority was rooted not only in strength, but in deep knowledge of the land and its rhythms. His world was shaped by water. Rivers were highways, borders, and weapons all at once. They fed villages, connected communities, and allowed warriors to move unseen through dense jungle corridors that outsiders could barely survive. Quibián understood this terrain intimately. Every bend in the river, every mangrove inlet, every mountain pass was known to him and his people. This knowledge would become his greatest weapon when Christopher Columbus arrived on the Central American coast. During his final voyage, searching desperately for gold and a passage to Asia, when Columbus entered the region around the Belén River in Iwulinga, he believed he had found a promising foothold. His ships were damaged, his crew exhausted, and his reputation already fraying after earlier failures. To Columbus, the rivers of Quibián's territory appeared calm and inviting, rich with resources and seemingly opened for exploitation. What he did not understand was that every movement he made was being watched. Quibián allowed the Spaniards to enter, studying them carefully, assessing their numbers, their weapons, and their intentions. Unlike many European accounts that portrayed indigenous leaders as naive or submissive, Quibián immediately recognized the danger these men posed. He saw how they treated the people they encountered, how they demanded gold, and how quickly diplomacy turned into coercion. Rather than attack immediately, he chose patience, gathering intelligence, while maintaining a facade of cautious tolerance. Columbus attempted to establish a settlement near the river, constructing a small fort called Santa Maria de Belén. From his perspective, this was the beginning of Spanish control over the region. From Quibián's perspective, it was an unacceptable intrusion. The Spaniards took food, disrupted trade routes, and spoke openly of claiming the land. They attempted to assert authority through intimidation, believing their steel weapons and horses would be enough to frighten the local population into submission. But Quibián had no intention of allowing a foreign power to entrench itself along his river. He began quietly mobilizing warriors from surrounding villages, using messengers and river canoes to coordinate forces across a wide area. The jungle, thick and suffocating to Europeans, became a living ally to the Ngäbe resistance. The first open conflict came when Columbus attempted to capture Quibián himself, hoping to break resistance by removing its leader. Spanish soldiers seized Quibián and bound him, believing the operation a success. But they underestimated both his resolve and the loyalty of his people. While being transported by Kuno, Quibián managed to escape, slipping into the river and vanishing into the jungle. His escape was more than a personal victory. It was a signal. It told his warriors that the Spaniards were vulnerable, that their grip on the land was fragile, and that the time for decisive action had arrived. What followed was one of the earliest and most effective indigenous uprisings against European colonization in the Americas. Quibián launched coordinated attacks on the Spanish settlement, striking swiftly and relentlessly. Ngäbe warriors used the river currents to their advantage, attacking from canoes, firing arrows from concealed positions, and retreating before Spanish troops could respond. The jungle swallowed the attackers after each strike, leaving the Europeans disoriented and afraid. Spanish armor, heavy and ill-suited to the climate, became a liability. Horses panicked in narrow jungle paths. Muskets misfired in the humidity. The technological advantage Columbus relied upon evaporated in the face of guerrilla warfare executed by a leader who understood his environment perfectly. The Spanish fort at Belén quickly became a trap rather than a stronghold. Supplies dwindled. Morale collapsed. Constant attacks made sleep impossible. Columbus, already weakened by illness, watched as his final colonial gamble unraveled. One of the most devastating blows came when Quibián's forces attacked Spanish boats along the river, killing sailors and cutting off escape routes. Without control of the water, the Spaniards were effectively stranded in hostile territory. Quibián had turned the river into a weapon, isolating the invaders and forcing them into a defensive posture they could not sustain. Realizing the situation was hopeless, Columbus ordered a retreat. The Spaniards abandoned the fort, fleeing back to their ships under constant threat of attack. Many did not survive the journey. Storms battered the fleet, disease spread among the crew, and the psychological toll of defeat weighed heavily on the expedition. Columbus left the region defeated, his dream of conquest in Quibián's territory destroyed. This failure marked one of the few times Columbus was decisively repelled by an indigenous leader through coordinated military resistance. Unlike other encounters that ended in massacre or forced submission, Quibián's uprising succeeded in expelling the Europeans entirely. Quibián did not pursue the Spaniards beyond his territory. His goal was not conquest, but protection. He had defended his people, preserved their autonomy, and demonstrated that European invaders were not invincible. In doing so, he shattered the myth of inevitable Spanish dominance at a moment when that myth was just beginning to take shape. His victory delayed European penetration into the region for years, giving the Ngäbe people time to adapt, reorganize, and prepare for future challenges. Despite the significance of his achievement, Quibián's name rarely appears in mainstream history. Spanish chroniclers, embarrassed by Columbus's failure, minimized the defeat or framed it as an unfortunate setback rather than a triumph of indigenous resistance. Yet among the Ngäbe, Quibián endured as a symbol of strength, intelligence, and defiance. His leadership was remembered not only for military success, but for the values it embodied. He did not rush blindly into battle. He observed, planned, and struck with precision. He used the land not as a backdrop, but as an active participant in resistance. And he placed the survival of his people above personal glory. Quibián's story challenges the simplified narrative of colonization as an unstoppable force. It reminds us that indigenous leaders were not passive victims, but skilled strategists capable of defeating Europe's most famous explorers. His resistance stands as one of the earliest examples of successful anti-colonial warfare in the Americas, a blueprint that would later be echoed by leaders across the continent. From the rivers of Panama to the mountains of the Andes and the forests of Brazil, the lesson was the same. Empire could be resisted, and sometimes it could be beaten. Today, Quibián represents a forgotten turning point in history. He is proof that the age of conquest was not a one-sided story of domination, but a contested struggle shaped by indigenous leadership and resilience. His victory over Columbus is not just a footnote. It is a testament to sovereignty, strategy, and the power of knowing one's land better than any invader ever could. Quibián did not need steel, armor, or cannons to defend his people. He had rivers, forests, loyalty, and the will to act when the moment demanded it. In defending his homeland, he ensured that his name would live on as one of the first great resistance leaders of the Americas. Follow for more history they never taught us in school.